Was it one beautiful sunny day? There was no sign of trouble. The school exam was underway. And it took a little time, said one student. This is because you just stared at the paper, and without thinking answered the questions. I know, one of them chuckled. But suddenly they heard the hum of cars and one of them turned and looked in surprise. A convoy was passing by, with a large number of armored vehicles and weapons. In the back of the cars sat ordinary students in their costumes, and everyone was driving somewhere anxiously. The students looked after the convoy and remained perplexed. They could not understand what was happening for a long time. One of them exclaimed, "These aren't even real adventurers. They are just students of one of the specialized schools." The second one replied, "Look at the emblem, stupid, they are from the Warrior Academy." Indeed, one of the vehicles had the Warrior Academy's emblem on it, which was a sword with a shield. A little history, all this happened more than 25 years ago. Suddenly the sky was very dark, and not a single ray of light shone through it. Chaos broke out in the city, and all the people were fleeing somewhere. Suddenly, some strange bright blue portals appeared in the sky, from where thousands of dragons appeared. They flew, spewed fire, and a real horror occurred. One of them was so huge that it was bigger than a 100-story building. It sat on one of them and started growling loudly. All the people looked at him in fear, and started to run away abruptly. The news started showing what was happening. Why and where such a panic comes from. It turned out that there is a similar world to Earth in this universe. But for some unknown reason, a violent incident occurred on the second planet, and as a result, that planet exploded. Because of the explosion, the remnants of that planet began to be attracted to our Earth. Comets and meteorites fell and destroyed our entire planet. And suddenly, in the center of Japan, a huge tree appeared, unprecedented in size. It was bigger than any building on Earth. They called this incident the phenomenon of adhesion, and it was because of it that various monsters appeared on our planet. In addition to the dragons, huge snakes began to appear from the seas. 17% of the total land area was affected. People have lost control of it. There were dangerous areas where dragons and various monsters were brutalized. The world began to fight this threat. Special forces arrived, but they were powerless against one monster. It was blood red in color, had a single horn, and what looked like whiskers. It was fully armored and made up of muscle, and it could finish off anyone it saw. And these zones were eventually called dungeons. These monsters have evolved. The first horned horror appeared. It had one horn, it had category B strength, it was less hardy. Their categories varied depending on the monster's strength, and they had one or more horns. And in this skirmish there was one fighter who fought with this monster. He started firing from his weapon. But the monster was very fast and bulletproof. It reached the military in a second, and with one blow, he struck him down. Because of such injuries from the blow, he was thrown into the wall. People didn't have enough time to prepare to face these monsters. Against the background of this monster, the human had the following characteristics: strength, D, endurance, D, dexterity, D. Although he was well trained, he was far behind these monsters. Humans didn't have the skills to fight them. But people were lucky. This catastrophe was not the only one that hit our world. Some miracle came too, and it gave people superhuman strength. This fighter stood up after such a powerful blow. He had mastered a power that surpassed this monster. He continued to attack him, but the man was stronger. He easily dodged the blow and welded it to the ground, which killed the monster. But unfortunately, not everyone got this power, and it was different for each person. These people were called the chosen ones. They decided to train themselves and their bodies, and after hundreds of hours of training, the humans decided to fight back against the monsters. There were a lot of different types of monsters. Some of them had 3 horns. They were strong monsters. There were also weaker ones. Some of them took on human forms. Super soldiers started forming an army to regain control of the dungeons. They were called Special Agents of the United States, just for this purpose. They were also known as adventurers. During the long battles, people realized that firearms could not cope with them. They acquired swords, and so began the era of dungeons, as well as the era of adventurers. Adventurers were confronted in tough battles by a monster from an alien planet. The whole world praised, as well as inspired by their strength. Soon after the victory, organizations were created that train adventurers. The best center on the whole planet for training teenagers was in the Republic of Korea for more than 25 years, and the best school was there. The most famous military high school. Let's go back to today. The students were still standing and looking at the convoy. Everyone was chatting about something, but two of them knew a lot about this school. They talked and shared their thoughts. One of them thought that the test at this school was a dungeon clearing. The second one asked, did they get permission for this? What if they die? They are so confident in themselves, there must be a reason why they were accepted to this school. Someone shouted wow. The girls near the road did not take their eyes off him. He was beautiful, he had shiny skin. Everyone looked closely and understood. It was a mixed blood elf, somewhat resembling a human, but at the same time, it had long ears and long fingers. Students are surprised. What the hell is this? You don't know him? He often appears on TV. This is Dia Choi. His father is Famous the Adventurer, and the mother is an elf. Everyone thinks he's a genius. All the people claim that he will enter the higher ranks as an adventurer after graduation. Him was 17 years old, studied in the first year, was a senior soldier, was on sorties 14 times. The guys didn't understand what they found in him, so. The boys decided to invite Jaren for a walk with them today. They said, are you working today? We heard that your girlfriend Yuji went to karaoke with her friends. To which he replied, yes, sorry, I have a shift today. I hope you will have fun, guys. They were surprised and suggested that he skip work and go with them. But he refused. He said goodbye to them, wished you a good day, and left. One of his friends scolded the other for his stupid suggestion to skip work, because you know what Jaren does it for. He has a sick father. He has to take care of him every day and also work tirelessly because he has to pay the bills. And he had debts for May and June totaling 302,521,200 yuan. His boss wrote it and asked, how was his day, and offered him a job. Because of his debts, agreed and went to see him. As he was walking down the street and Joan Choi noticed him. Jaren was indignant that he didn't want to go to work because the weather was nice and he just wanted to have fun with friends. He descended into the abandoned dungeon, stepped over the pit, lifted the security tape, and walked on. There he met his boss. Their client and bodyguard were also with him. It was Jahan. He was 37 years old and worked as a broker. Nice to meet you, Jaren said. The client was outraged. Is this some kind of joke? I thought you'd appoint your best employee. He's better than that, said his boss, sitting in his chair and smoking a cigarette. The customer exclaimed, you think I'm stupid? Listen to me, you fucking son of a dog. I didn't come here to be deceived by you. Surprised, the boss replied, aren't you being too harsh? Get this kid out of my sight. Get me someone who's really good at this job. Otherwise, I'll make you both feel sorry for me, he already shouted to his bodyguard. Hey big guy. To which Jaren asked, are you an adventurer? Oh, I'm sorry, I think you were an adventurer. That's why you're stupidly standing behind this old man. The guard said, there's no need to continue this conversation. I'm sure the broken arms and legs will teach this kid a lesson. The guard slammed fist against fist and advanced on Jaren. It was Lee Piliu, a former silver-ranked adventurer of 34 years old who had been in the dungeons 81 times. Yeah, I knew you'd settle it, Piliu, if you wanted to get down on his knees and beg before he did anything. Jaren asked. He was 17 years old, returned from the dungeon 371 times.